The king is dead. Okay, the concept that President Obama was going to act like a king and with his royal scepter wipe out the Second Amendment and take all our guns away should be dead. When Vice President Biden mentioned executive orders, many on the right lost their minds in in screaming how we're going to fight with have a constitutional fight. He's trying to bypass Congress with these executive orders. He's going to rule by his own merit. And today he presented his plan for addressing gun violence. Now, don't misunderstand me. I don't agree with some of what he wants to send to Congress. Matter of fact, I don't agree with most of what he wants to send to Congress. But when you look at the 23 executive orders, which, by the way, let me just mention, executive orders have existed since 1789. Almost every president has issued executive orders. And unlike some internet rumors, this president has not issued 900 executive orders. Rather, he's issued 136, which is less by this time in his administration that the last two presidents issued. But anyway, what he issued as executive orders were administrative details that is in his authority to do. For example, encouraging the Centers of Disease Control to do another study on gun violence, mental health, nine yards. One of the executive orders required federal agencies to report information that would be important on the criminal background checks that we do from stores. There were others that executive order that expressed to doctors that there's nothing that would prevent them from informing the authorities if they had a patient who expressed the intent or desire to cause harm, to kill people, whether with a firearm or not, and others along those lines. The executive orders that he issued were merely the administrative details on this case. So there is no ruling by fiat. The King Obama is not there. These executive orders didn't do that. And I will add to this on the website a list of all the executive orders. Now, you don't have to agree with the fundamental position that the president takes. That's not the issue. The issue is in factual information. There's nothing out of the way, unconstitutional about the executive orders that he issued this day. Now, you can classify his approach to the gun violence as unconstitutional because you believe it affects the Second Amendment. I believe that some of what he's putting before Congress and some of what we knew would be in Congress, Dianne Feinstein was already planning on doing something like that. I don't believe is right. I do not believe we should ban a particular type of firearm in this case, this assault weapons type firearm. As I said on the show Monday when we talked about this, and then we interviewed Tim Bork from Personal Defense Outfitters, an AR-15 and a modern hunting rifle with a semi-automatic with a magazine function the exact same way. Whether it looks like an M16 or not, the finger trigger releases one bullet. One round goes for every finger trigger, whether it is an AR-15 or a Mini 14. Now, you can have a bigger magazine or whatever. So banning these particular firearms, I don't believe, well, first of all, I don't believe it's constitutional. I believe the Supreme Court has ruled that the government, well, first of all, they ruled that carrying firearms or being able to bear firearms is an individual right. And I also believe they ruled that the government can't ban a specific kind of firearm that the average American would use for a legal purpose. and self-defense being one of those that the AR-15 or whatever might be. So I don't believe that's constitutional, and I believe that we shouldn't do it. Universal background checks, this is where I disagree with some of my good friends on the right. One of our fundamental rights is the right to life, and it is the government's duty and responsibility to protect life. We have people using firearms to take away that right. Now, yes, they use all kinds of things, but I'm not selling a rock. And the only purpose of a hammer is not to smash someone's grandmother's head in. The only purpose for the use of a firearm, the creation of a firearm, was to kill something. A deer, an elk, someone attacking me, trying to kill my family. Yes, we use firearms for target shooting, we use firearms for competition shooting, but the fundamental purpose for the creation of firearms was to kill something. So we already do a background check on anyone who buys a firearm at a store or at a gun show where someone is a dealer. A universal background check where everyone who purchases a firearm has to have a background check to make sure they're not criminals, I believe, is the right answer. Now, I know we get this registry of gun owners that would make it easier for the government to come take the guns. I understand that thought, but my understanding is there has to be a middle ground here. And I believe the universal background check is fine. You may disagree, and that's fine. And we can have a discussion about that without you being some evil redneck trying to kill everybody and me being some person trying to steal all the guns from America. We can have a measured debate about that. Magazine capacity, I could go either way with that. I don't think it solves the problem. I think someone could take 3 10-round magazines and kill the same number of people that were killed if they had a 1 30-round magazine. But I also think you can protect yourself with 3 10-round magazines as well as you could a 30-round magazine. That's neither here nor there. I don't believe it's necessary, and I believe, as we said on the show, if you look at this past year where we had 14 mass shootings, 4 more than the last 8 years, and twice as many as under the last ban. Of those 14, only 2 consisted of more than 10 victims. So a 10-round magazine would be enough to kill all those people. In the other 12 shootings, a 10-round magazine would have been sufficient. So I don't think that's the issue. And my biggest problem with this idea of focusing on the tool is that we take our eye off of why. We had 1 shooting so far in the year of 2013. It was done with a shotgun. It was a young man who'd been bullied at school mercilessly, from what we understand. And he came to kill the bullies. He wasn't trying to kill everybody in school. He wasn't trying to do that. His thought was, these people are bullying me. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to kill them. Now, my thought is, why is that a thought in his head? Why is that the answer? And my fear with the whole gun ban and all that stuff, beyond the Second Amendment implications, where someone would say, I shouldn't think this way, is that we're going to end the conversation there. That we're going to say, yep, all done, wash my hands, we solved our problems. And when we haven't addressed the mental health in this country, when we haven't addressed how we punish criminals, when the man that killed the 2 firefighters was a man who bludgeoned his grandmother to death with a hammer and only served 17 years, there's a problem with our criminal justice system. So I want this conversation to go beyond just the individual tools. But we can, if we really work at it, have an honest discussion about how we should address these issues if we pull back from the extremes. And that's what I would wish for our country. Now, if you tune in to Another Voice over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing just that. We discussed the tools this last week, and you can look that up on the website. This coming week, we're going to be trying to focus on the mental health issues of in our country, not just with guns, but the idea of how we address mental health in America today. And in future weeks, we'll be discussing criminal justice. So stay tuned for that. This has been Eric from Another Voice. You can hear us Mondays 1 to 2 p.m. on Spin FM 103.3 in Greenville, Greer, or Spartanburg. You can go to canigetawordin.com and see these videos plus other information, other podcasts also. Or you can go to iTunes and subscribe to our podcast channel, Another Voice with Jason and Eric. And if you're out about during the day in the Greenville area looking for some good lunch or maybe dinner, Little Pigs at Hudson Corner is the place I'd recommend. They've got great barbecue, a wide variety of delicious sides, and, in my opinion, the best sweet tea in the upstate area. They're at 2428 Hudson Road in Greer. If you're looking to get a catering done, call Doug at 244-1090. They'll do a great job for you. And don't worry about the cost. They're going to work with you on that. That's Little Pigs at Hudson Corners. Until then, have a great night.